The WYcast is made possible by people going on the XP homepage, www.exp.uk, and buying my albums on vinyl and CD and getting merch as well. So big thanks to everyone who has. And if you enjoy these podcasts, please consider helping out by going and buying some. Hello, and welcome to the second series of the WYcast. I'm XP, a hip-hop musician based in West Yorkshire, WY. I made a decision in the last year or so that I should invest time in helping promote and support the West Yorkshire hip-hop scene that I know and love so well. A scene which has supported my involvement in music for over 2 decades. Yes, I am that fucking old. Last season I spoke about my wish to talk to those involved in hip-hop in West Yorkshire, and I said I'd expand my search out to soul and jazz as well, but a spreadsheet I've inevitably put together puts the number of active MCs and producers in West Yorkshire at approximately 200, and I'm finding out about new people every week. Therefore, at this rate, this will probably be a West Yorkshire hip-hop specific podcast for at least the next 7 years? If you're an active and involved West Yorkshire hip-hop artist, I will want to speak to you at some point and find out what it's all about for you. There's not much method to who I choose to get on, but I insist on doing these outside, so there's West Yorkshire scenery in the background where possible. And the weather has absolutely trolled me in a lot of cases. I'm meeting people I have a lot of history with and people I barely know, all with the intention of connecting WY hip-hop artists and giving you, the listener, a chance to know the people behind the great music they make. On this episode of the WYcast, it's Eject. One of the best-known graffiti artists in the West Yorkshire area, I'd say, was killing it with a merch label, Ejecto's, not too long ago. And just, it's very unlikely if you've been to West Yorkshire, you've not seen his artwork somewhere, whether you've been in a venue or just outside in town and stuff. The guy's a legend. It was great to chat to him at one of the Roxy ballrooms that him and Kid Crayon have been doing. I keep referencing to the fact that we're in front of his artwork, but we're actually in front of Kid Crayon's artwork. But nevertheless, it's all through Eject that it happened. So yeah, enjoy. Eject, how you fucking doing?
Yo,
good to see you, man.
You all right?
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me at Roxy Ballroom in Leeds in front of a bit of your sick ass artwork.
Well, it's Kid Crayons, but
and your my story with you is like I've known you for years, and you've when did I first meet you, bro? What was it at the Cypher, or was it even before then?
I feel like it was in Huddersfield or something like that.
Huddersfield? What the fuck were we doing in Huddersfield? Like a hip hop gig or something?
Thing or something like that.
Damn.
It would have been through Chavs. Of EP crew and all the Bingley boys and all that.
That's true. I definitely knew that. Definitely knew Chavs back in the day. He was at. Do you know what? I'm just going to go off on a side tangent about Chavs right quick. I did a photo shoot in Bradford in 2006 to promote my album Bred in Bradford. Had a few of my friends down, and Chavs came along as well. And I had a letter from the council saying I could be in front of the Centenary Square steps. And the police came along and were like, what's fucking going on here? I felt great. Like, I pulled out this big paper, like, here you go, council said it's okay. And then they're like, oh, what's it all about then? I was like, oh, I'm a rapper. And he said, go on then. And Chavs beatboxed for me while I freestyled for the police.
That sounds about right.
In literally the cringiest moment never recorded, thankfully. It was fucking dog shit. But, still, you got to go somewhere. So, yeah, man. And you have been intrinsic, and I wanted to get you on because I'm generally just doing rappers and producers, bro. Yeah. But I wanted to get you on because you've been so intrinsic to like West Yorkshire from the graffiti point of view and a merch point of view as well, man.
Yeah.
Where like I kind of wanted to do origin stories with everyone really. When did you like first pick up a pen? What year were you born, bro? Were you like?
I'm 82.
82. Okay. Yeah. So when was the first time you were drawing and shit?
I was drawing as a kid all the time. My mum's really creative, so she used to get us drawing all the time. My grandma's really creative, so I used to see all these little drawings. My grandma used to draw these little mad illustrations. And my mum draws. My mum used to draw. She'd get us making stuff, painting stuff.
What were the mad illustrations? Because you're obviously famous for that demon that you did with the 2 horns. Yeah. What when you say mad illustrations, your grandma doing like?
My grandma she was a dressmaker, so she'd draw the dressmakers dummies and stuff, but she just did it in a style that wasn't really traditional of its time. It was quite quirky, kind of like something that you'd see in like Scroll Book or something.
Amazing. Like that. Have you still got copies of that stuff?
I've probably still got reference of it somewhere. Yeah. Amazing. But yeah, so her artwork were really cool, and then my mum's always just been fueling me all the time. Really, She always just like. Instead of just like kicking us out on that, it would like get paper out, lock door so she can clean house, and then it would just like me and my brother would just sit there drawing and doodling.
So at what point did you regret that? Because it got serious for you, didn't it?
Yeah, maybe
like,
my doors got kicked in at one point. Yeah, and like about 9 or 10 BTP officers came in with dogs and
age 9 and 10.
No, well, they want age 9 or 10.
Oh, right. No. When you were 9 or 10, is that?
No, basically, when I got arrested for doing graffiti.
I see,
so,
I see.
Their doors got kicked in at 7 o'clock. My door, with my ex-girlfriend at the time, our door got kicked in Liverpool, and her dad's door got kicked in all at 7 o'clock in the morning. So
freaking hell.
That's where she might have started regretting it a little bit.
Yeah,
then,
at that point,
still.
yeah. So when did the graffiti start? When did you start doing it in the street?
Yeah, I was quite late to it, really, me. Because, well, I lived in Pudsey and Bramley Ways, and you didn't have no graffiti around there.
Really?
Yeah,
there's no graffiti in Bramley?
You'd see a little bit of like hack and hoops and stuff like that back in the day. You'd see a lot of TE tags and stuff.
Yeah.
And the only graffiti I really saw was LSK's graffiti.
LSK?
Yeah,
Man,
so LSK's been like, it's basically been like, I don't know, what would you call him? Like guardian angel sometimes?
Right.
Yeah, so like...
Mental, because I had a podcast with King Monk, who
Yes,
basically said the same thing. Massive big ups to LSK.
Well, if it weren't for them two, I were going to Funky Mule Nights, which Monkey were doing all the illustrations for, which got me into... So around that time in Leeds, we had Funky Mule, we had Drum Major Nights, we'd have Dynamo walking around crowd trying to do his...
Get tips for his card tricks.
Like we'd all tend to piss off.
Fuck off, you'll never make it, lad.
We just went into magic. It was just like, it's just a shit way to pick up girls, isn't it? But so we'd be at nights like that, but it were Monkey's illustrations on his flyers and stuff. And then like seeing tags around Swinner where I lived, and it were like the LSK, he had this mad Futura 2000 style of handwriting. It'd say like, on one of the shutters it said, for the Swinner youth. And obviously, I felt part of that. And
nice.
Then,
that kind of spoke to you, that.
Yeah, so that is the actually first glimpse of graffiti I think I ever saw.
Mental.
Other than going like when my dad were doing jobs as a carpet fitter, so he'd look after us at weekend or something. We'd be driving up to jobs, and then I'd be like, "Daddy, what's a fisto?" And he'd be like, "Oh, Fisto's a graffiti artist that got sent imprisoned for loads of years."
Why would your dad know that information?
Just because it was so famous at the time. It was like the biggest graffiti writer in the north.
Right.
So when he got arrested and stuff, it was pretty massive, man. I think at the time it was the biggest sentence ever for graffiti.
Was it like multiple years? What did he go down?
Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah, in and out, whatever. But
so, at what point did you go fancy a bit of that then? And how did you go about doing that?
I would always doodling it in my books and stuff like that. And obviously, I didn't have no peers to kind of, like in London or Brighton or something like that. You'd have like people to bounce off of Bristol and stuff. Do you know what I mean? You'd have a scene to bounce off of, but there was no scene.
Yep.
So it was like you just had to kind of like work it out yourself and find a few books or whatever. But we've got this teacher Miss Gaunt. I'm really sorry about this, but the most stolen book in history is Subway Art.
Oh, okay.
And it was probably the first thing I've ever stolen, and I stole it off of her. But, and I feel really bad because she was such a good teacher. But if it wasn't for that book, I wouldn't be doing what I do today.
Fair.
Later on, I got it signed by the author.
Nice.
And then the police took it away and burnt it.
What?
Yeah. So that's a.
Fucking hell. So you stole Subway Art, and then when were you first drawing in illegally without saying too much about that?
I think I did back at Co-op on my estate.
And what did you do? Were you Eject then?
No, I wasn't Eject then. It was an anagram of town, which is my second name.
Yeah.
I think it was Twinno or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had this like little paw print tag that had it said Twinno, and then it had a little paw print on end.
What age is this?
I was late. I was a late starter
like
to
20
graffiti. I was like 17, I think.
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
that's not that late, really.
Even 18. I'm not a 40-year-old starter. That's just wrong. That.
Yeah.
Don't get into graffiti at 40. That's weird.
Are you allowed to get into rap at 40?
Nah.
Am I allowed to still be rapping at 40?
Yeah, I think you've just got to do a hand solo. Slowly change careers. Do you know what I mean? But
when did Twinno turn into Eject then? What was the history behind Eject becoming a thing?
Well, I used to write rejects because I think I'd been dumped by a girl.
Nice.
And I listened to a lot of... I didn't really listen to hip-hop back then. It was more punk and rock and stuff, so it was like... I was more on the emo side, I think.
Yeah.
So I used to write reject.
Nice.
And then one night I got a little bit drunk and I forgot to put the R up. I was never very good at R's anyway. And I came back the next day and it said eject. And I was like, all right, that's cool.
Nice.
That fits.
And then when does the devil that took over then?
I think the devil came...
Or the demon?
Yeah, a little bit later.
Demon,
Yeah, a little bit later, the demon came.
What was the thinking behind that, or was it just were you just fucking with loads of styles at the time?
I just wanted, because I'd been doing the tag with the paw, and everybody on the bus and stuff around where I lived, they were all talking about it. Whereas other tags, you didn't look at other tags because it was just a mess of little squiggly lines that people can't understand.
So for there to be an actual character there, for something that people could get into and stuff like
Obviously,
that.
there were no books on graffiti at the time, and it was just, I just saw a symbol. I wanted a symbol more like a trademark more than a tag.
Nice.
Because I felt like something round and something, even a character or even a symbol, stood out on the wall more than a sea of tags.
Well, it did, and
I think it does.
It got bit quite a lot, as I remember. People were sort of starting to jack his dial a bit.
Like especially in Liverpool. Liverpool, they were just like, I think every character in Liverpool at one point had a neck and some kind of horn.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So you were the first demon that you did were in Leeds, were they? And then you moved back to Liverpool?
The first one was the back of Bramley train station.
Sick.
The second one was back of Bramley train station, I think, somewhere.
Nice.
And then the third one was actually in Leeds city centre, where they used to have the Town and Country Club. It's now O2.
Townette and Country Club as well. That's nice. Yeah.
And there was a big pit down there. I had a big demon on there, which stood there for years. And the same night I did a demon next to District up the alleyway near Five Guys, and I think at one point that were like the longest standing graffiti in the city centre.
Mad.
That stayed there well over 10 years.
What's the oldest one that still exists, or are most of them gone?
I'd say there's quite a few Armley Pudsey ways.
Is there?
I don't know. I were in Bradford the other day and I found loads the other day.
Did you?
I didn't even know that I'd done.
I should be documenting them because that's the old school stuff. Seeing that from all that time ago. So you moved to Liverpool then, and then were you just like, what was your? Because like I don't really understand much about graffiti artists, but I remember hanging around with a few. What would Cyan? Would that be the? I can't remember how he pronounced it, but I was mates with him. I still am mates with him, and he would like have a few beers and suddenly disappear. And like I'd be round at mine, we'd have a house party or something, and then like, where's he gone? And sure enough, he was down somewhere doing something he shouldn't, or whatever, should. But what was your routine for that? Were you just like, every night I'm doing it?
I think when I was getting, I mean, it was building up as I were leaving Leeds. I just started doing trains and bits and bats and stuff and getting more out there. Like, EP crew wasn't really, we didn't want to take every spot. We didn't want to go in the most blatant spots. We wanted to just paint stuff everywhere, really.
Of course,
we always wanted to do the train tracks, but we didn't want to just do, say, some chrome letters. We always went out with the emulsion. We did bright pink backgrounds. We'd have a character at middle. We'd have, obviously, Chavs, Graff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We'd have them boys, and we started doing productions on the side of the tracks when people were just doing chromes.
Nice.
So we got quite into that stuff, and we just wanted to paint. We weren't about beefing and stuff. Later on, it got to that, but
it seems unavoidable. Graffiti crews beefing. Is that because you've taken a space and then someone's taking your space over? I'd never really understood it, but it always seems serious.
It is a little bit like that. It's dogs pissing in it, really. And I think a lot of people just listen to the cap bit in Style Wars a little bit too much, where Cap's going over and destroying everyone's pieces. So some kids just got on that.
Right.
To me, I just wanted to paint. I wanted to bomb.
So you've never punched someone in the face for covering over one of your outfits, or for someone going, "Oh, Steve," or whatever. That's the worst.
Yeah, we've dealt with it properly. I've just gone out and took every one of the pieces out that existed.
Nice. Just not to be fucked with graffiti artists. Out of the four elements of hip hop, I am happy to call a DJ shit to his face, but I'm not saying shit to a graffiti artist.
No, not only that, they'll smash your car in as well.
Yeah. It's no joke, man.
Not only that, they'll hold the vendetta and like tag it 10 years later or something like that.
Remember that shit. Were you, so at the time you were doing all this blamming and even moving to Liverpool, was your vocation in art and making art and stuff?
Well, I was doing art. I was doing art at Bradford College and stuff like that. Leeds College, did my foundations and stuff, and then went to Liverpool for uni.
Right.
So I was doing, I always thought I was going to be an illustrator.
Right.
But my style apparently was more graphic.
Is that what they said?
Yes.
That was right.
Which made sense from.
What does that mean? So you wanted to be an illustrator? I don't really know the difference.
Well, it's difference between drawing cartoon characters or something like that, or like designing an album cover.
I get, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I didn't think that my style fit within that, but then the tutors and stuff kind of pushed me into that area. But it makes sense because the stuff that I did get inspired by was all graphic arts. It's like Sex Pistols covers, like the Prodigy Dirt Chamber sessions where everything were like carved in on a like bit of like, I don't know, a bit of film paper or something like that, and then rescanned in and stuff. So
nice.
Which kind of makes, if you look at a lot of my work now, kind of brings all of that stuff back into it as well.
Were you when you left uni or during uni, were you doing a lot of like, I don't know, paid for flyers and that sort of thing?
Yes,
were you doing a lot of that
we were doing quite a
design?
a bit of that stuff. But I were always doing commissions. So I've been doing commissions since I learned that you could get some free paint out of somebody.
Right.
So it were like spray paint were really expensive. So it were like you did a commission, you got to take the bag of paint home with you. You got a wedge in your pocket.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you got to learn on someone else's time.
And the majority of commissions were like a wall of a shop kind of thing. You mean?
Yeah. Well, back in days, it was just. I mean, before recession and stuff, it were all YMCA's and like youth centres and stuff like that.
That's too cool.
This world wasn't even part of the. I don't know what it is now. Like you go out to pubs and clubs and the whole bar scene and stuff. That wasn't there then.
No.
Do you know what I mean? People were still painting stuff black like the 80s and stuff, and it were.
And were you touting your name about for that kind of work? Or was your name travelling enough through word of mouth that you were getting work like that?
Pretty much, I kind of got a lot. Still got most of my work to this day. I mean, I set up a website. I've got, you know what I mean, I respond to emails and all that stuff, but still my main, it's word of mouth. Because I've always tried to do jobs as well as I can do them and in a different style to someone that might do that job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And always, not other than that, I always try to fit it in with what that person or client needs. I'm not trying to come in and put my stamp on something when they don't need my stamp.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you producing a track. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't overproduce it with your sound. You pick the sound that's right for that.
Yeah, if I was commissioned for it, certainly.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're doing a job for someone, innit? Yeah. So, go on. Actually, no, we're still in Liverpool.
Yeah, cool. It's a good time.
And you were doing, and you were at university and doing that stuff and blamming bits around and about.
Yeah.
So, go on. Tell me as best you can the story leading up to like the fucking BTP getting involved.
Yeah, basically, I turned up to Liverpool and I saw there were a few writers from the Wirral, a few writers from over the water, but the only person that was bombing hard was Amza.
Amza, right?
Yeah, Amza. He was a sick guy. I mean, nice person, sick bomber.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there was old people like Thing, but we don't really talk about that guy.
Okay.
But yeah, there wasn't much of a scene in Liverpool itself.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of people coming over from different towns to paint Liverpool because the transit system was a bit easier.
Okay.
But for me, it was just, I don't know, there were no cameras hardly. The place was designed like New York, so it's a grid. So you can blend from one area of the city to the other area of the city.
It's super easy to do.
At the time, there were no capital of culture. We kind of, we weren't helpful in that. But we were climbing all the buildings. There were no rooftops going on, so we were stealing barrels from pubs in town and just climbing up the side of buildings and stuff like that.
Mad.
Yeah, I loved rooftops in Liverpool. It was sick.
And it was just through the love of doing it that you were doing it, because it's not like you were getting paid, and indeed you weren't getting the paints from commissions, you were having to pay for them yourself. So you were out there on your own dollar, like making Liverpool beautiful in your own way. Like, but you weren't going scumbag, because I think people. I mean, you know, I don't think anyone's going to be listening to this podcast, but some people's opinion of graffiti is like some fucking scrotes written whatever IDST on the side of a wall, whereas this is the real shit, and you were doing that shit in Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Like, you were doing.
I don't know. I still think it's the opposite. Me.
What do you mean?
I still think the real shit is this tagging on the street.
I see.
That's to be. Before I got arrested, that was the essence. That was the
because you were
that
there.
Was the light. That's the fuel that keeps you going. Because putting up them little tags is saying that you've been here. It's taking over each city.
There was one guy, right? I think it was Bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
Bizar.
Yeah.
That guy gave me that impression of what you're saying there, because that guy just wrote fucking Bizarre everywhere. Definitely came to a cycle one night. There's Bizarre all over my studio at various points, which just gone fucking like that. It just seemed to have an OCD, and it's like, with no disrespect to the dude, just a pretty blatantly boring. Like, I feel like most people could do the same thing and just write it, but it was fucking everywhere. I suppose that's that's tagging in its purest form, isn't it? You're tagging a spot, like. So
to me, it would a bit like, I know Banksy made a quote about it in one of his books, but if you're going to do something, make sure you do it with a little bit of style.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
fully.
I always think that I mean, we have done some terrible stuff, but...
you weren't climbing up on kegs to get onto rooftops to write eject real quick and fuck off.
No, I always wanted to leave the demon. I think the demon were like, to me, it was what would you say? I don't know. He's like a gatekeeper to me. He was always watching out. I used to put it in toilets where people would be doing lines. I'd be putting it in corners where people would be having a piss. Places where
always
people
watching.
wouldn't. Oh, you wouldn't really put graffiti. It was just always where people would be up to something dodgy. So you're always just that eye kind of like looking over you, kind of like judging on you, or like just like seeing you kind of thing.
That's sick.
So that's why the necks and stuff came in, because it was always a case of like I could always have it peering out of something or popping out from something.
Yeah.
Whereas it felt like it was part of the surroundings rather than just plonking it on with some letters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Smart, very smart. So yeah, Liverpool, and you're getting up to all sorts of mischief then. So
yeah, so I was fully into like, well, I were heading towards. I was in my second year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we're heading towards, and it's all looking rosy for me for the work that I'm starting to produce. I'm getting my confidence within design world.
Yep.
And all that stuff. But we're still blamming trains and still climbing rooftops.
Yeah.
Still like, you got off the bus to go to uni, and between the bus, you tagged up the bus, you walked through the street, you tagged up another truck, you saw another piece go by on another truck. You know what I mean? It was just you got a sticker up. It was just constant. It was just non-stop.
Right.
But still doing the design stuff and pulling my socks right up and doing all that, and then one day, smash, all doors get smashed in.
It caught up with you.
Yeah.
So what happened? And that happened in your and your missus's flat, was that, or did you say?
Yeah.
And what had they been tailing you for a while, or did they know it was you, or what? Like,
well, there were all sorts of stuff that went on with it. It was there was a graffiti writer in Liverpool that grassed us up.
Shit. Did you just mention his name about 10 minutes ago?
He was part of it as well. Yes. And I will stand by that, because I saw the guy go into the magnet and give the same details that the police had. So.
Why are graffiti artists graffing each other up? What is going on with that?
I think it was a bit of like, I went into Liverpool, took over started painting hard.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? Just started bombing hard. And people were looking at a lot of my stuff and going, oh, have you seen that? Rather than the guy at the time.
Do you reckon it's a jealousy thing?
Yeah, the guy Stock, if you know Graff and you know Liverpool, he's just an absolute fucking tool. He's not even that, he's a bully, he's an old man. Bullying little kids about putting tags up in cities.
Right.
I mean, for one of my mates who actually got murdered, he made his life hell every time he saw him. Do you know what I mean? And these guys were the same guys that went to clubs and took his names in.
Yeah.
And gave him my addresses and gave my numbers to gangsters in Liverpool.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? So I'm getting Scouse gangsters ringing up going, fucking hell, Eject, lad, I'm gonna fucking kill you, lad. And all this, and you're getting like...
Because you graphed their spot or something?
Just because I were graphing, just because I were active.
Bloody hell.
It was just a pure jealousy. This guy were out for me. And then Crime Watch put up Grass in a Graffer. Do you remember it? The 500 quid tag thing.
I've got a vague memory of an advert with that on this, man.
Stock went in and grassed up Hamza.
No way.
So it's like, and he's told him in the street, I've got my £500 for you.
Fuck.
Do you know what I mean? The same information. We'd been, to be fair, the guy were lovely in this club called The Magnet. He were a roadie for Beastie Boys, Cypress Hill, Everlast, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
yeah.
Guy's sick as fuck, to be fair.
Yeah.
But we went into his club religiously nearly every night, and I just etched a tile every now and again. Over a couple of years, that's every tile in the club's got a demon on it or an EP. And we've got tags on everything, and the guy...
Was sound about it?
Yeah, well, he sent out a witch hunt for us, basically. Put a sign outside, money, free drinks, free entrance for life, free food for anybody who gives us the details, names, addresses of anybody in the EP crew, Eject Luna in particular.
Whoa, shit, man.
So
you had a bounty on your head, effectively.
So that day we're walking into uni, I see this airboard outside. I'm like, me and my ex were like, scared.
Yeah.
So we sat outside. There was a little bit near facing, and you could kind of like just hide behind this little bit. We just sat there, just eating a butty and having a coffee and stuff.
Yeah.
We saw about 4 different graffiti writers go in there. Grass's names
no,
up, yeah.
no way.
Including Thing. Sorry, but
so was there?
it is what it is.
And did Magnet take that to the police then?
No, the guys from the Magnet were sound.
They
They got me in. They wanted me to scrub it all off.
Oh,
I went in as a representative of Eject.
Nice. He's a nice guy. Give him a break.
The guy saw right through it.
Fair play.
But yeah, so he did all that. But all the information for when we did actually get arrested about a year and a half later was the exact same information.
Right.
And
the evidence was based on that.
The copper in between interviews, they all tried to be nice as pie when you stopped interviewing. They're all trying to crack jokes with you, and you're like, yeah. So when did Stockgrass me up then? So that's what I'd be like all the way through. And you got to a point, this copper just went, a few months ago. And they were like, So, yeah.
So what were the consequences of that? So you got nicked?
Yeah, well, we're in the middle of a university course and stuff like that. We're going to get kicked off the course. The course is having a separate court case to keep us.
You and your ex, this is as
well.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're having a separate court case to see if we should stay in university. Ugh. We're on bail. We're getting rearrested. We got rearrested 27 times. You usually, within any kind of, if you've done a crime, you kind of get arrested and charged for one crime.
Yeah.
You'd think with graffiti it was all one crime.
But that's a crime.
That's a crime. And when there's a coppers going around with a pro forma saying, you'll get 500 quid for your insurance and all this, people sign it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it got to a point we've vandalised the hell out of Liverpool.
Word.
We've got capital culture, they're going for capital culture at time.
Yep.
Every building and club in the whole Liverpool city centre, they have a residents meeting each month. You know what I mean? We were top of that residents meeting for 2 years. So we got done basically, we got rearrested 27 times under different charges, and each time we got rearrested, they've got to kick you out before 24 hours. Well, they've got to charge you.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Or let you go.
Yeah.
So we'd get rearrested. So each time you got rearrested, they could keep you in for 23 hours before they
just
charge
kept kicking you out, bringing you in, kicking you out.
So about 11 hours, 45 minutes. 24 hours, whatever.
Start it again.
15 minutes to that, you'd get kicked out.
Fucking
And then
hell,
you'd get a bail thing, and then you'd just get rearrested.
Oh, my God.
So that went on for nearly 2 years or something, maybe 3 years.
Mate, what sort of years was this, remind me?
This
were 07-ish, are we?
Yeah, 2006, 7, 8, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So then we're getting rearrested, so then we actually got charged. So we couldn't go to uni. We weren't allowed to speak to graffiti artists in time. We weren't allowed to
pens, as I remember.
Carry pens. This were later on anyway, but at the time there's bail thing, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But when we actually got charged, we got told that we got told by a solicitor to take a toothbrush and a change of clothes. Because we were getting done for £500,000 worth of damage.
Fuck.
Whereas in a city like Liverpool where there's drugs and gangs and all sorts of shit going on.
Yeah, you're the bad guy.
Yeah, we were the bad guy because you can't catch them all the time, or you don't see.
Oh, it's hard.
The blood gets cleaned up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And they're probably paying a few police officers to shut the fuck up as well. But you didn't have that money. You're an easy target because you're not paying anyone off, man. You don't make any money from what you did.
And not only that, it's what we were doing was worse. Because we're not going around and hurting people. You don't see people that are hurt. Do you know what I mean? You don't see the court cases, the crime, the payouts and stuff that goes along with that.
Yep.
Graffiti's always there.
Yeah.
I mean, it always reminds people that there's antisocial behaviour or whatever, and there were a camera and hugging hoodies and all that shit. Do you know what I mean? So they were trying to gun for us. So basically, we got told we were going to do 2 years in prison.
Fuck. Is that what you were sentenced with, or was that what you were told?
We got told that's what we would do.
Yeah.
Our solicitor were like, we're trying to change everything. And if the day gets lucky, it might not be that.
But you were in your head. You're like, I'm doing 2 years.
Yeah. So in my head, we were going down for 2 years. So we got one of our tutors, my tutor, John Young. God rest. I'm not religious. I mean, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He died a few years ago, but he stood for us in court. I used to go out drinking with him. Do you know what I mean?
Legend.
He was that kind of guy.
Yeah,
I'd be at exhibitions where no other person from my uni or whatever would be there.
Yep.
And I'd be like youngest guy there just at the exhibition enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd just do that. I'd go to but them guys would be there as well. So they were like friends and stuff as well. So it ended up we were doing quite well. And John stood for us in court. And you could see the judge stopped the proceedings and he says, right, I've got to stop this for 10, 20 minutes. So everybody stood there. We're stood up because you can't sit down. He's shaking like about to black out every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And he pulls out this red pen and he's scribbling through stuff. He rechanges the whole sentence that he was going to give us on the spot.
Because of your old tutor?
Because of John Young. Yeah. So he told us it, and he goes, today, he goes, I was sentencing you to 2 years in prison.
Right.
And he goes, but I've just erased that, and you need to thank this gentleman here. Pointed over to John.
Fuck!
So if it weren't for John giving him the reference, to be fair, we did have a stack of references. We had about 50 references because we were working with kids and all sorts. He was stood there like...
Legend.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah, totally.
Man, what did you do to thank him?
He just won't accept anything, but you just tried to keep giving him stuff. I'm just always in debt to John, to be fair.
Of course. Did you go to his funeral?
Yeah, well, we went to the wake and stuff like that. It was quite a closed-off thing. But
yeah,
I mean, without him and LSK, I think I wouldn't be doing what I do today. Yeah.
What did you get sentenced with in the end?
We got 2 years suspended sentence. So do anything within that time, you're getting locked. Your sentence is getting activated.
Yeah. And doing anything included any drawing at all, sort of
anything.
thing.
Basically, if you get caught for drugs, assault, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Any of that stuff, your sentence is getting activated.
Mental.
We got £500 fine, which wasn't bad.
That's not bad for $500,000 damage. I'll take it.
We were students at the time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What else did we got? We got. Oh, I'm leading on to the other one. But yeah, we got 2 years. We got a 10-year ASBO. So a 10-year ASBO, I don't think anybody had even got a 10-year ASBO at the time. No. And we got 10-year ASBO, so we weren't allowed to talk to graffiti artists, we weren't allowed to put stuff online, we weren't allowed to carry pens, anything stainable. Man. Honestly, the page goes on for like 18 pages.
And that ran out 2018, did it? When we had Free Man?
Yes, it did. Yeah, because I had a little do.
Did you?
Yeah. I had an
Did you drink a WKD and fucking tag a car?
I had an end of ASBO party.
Sick guy.
10 years later. People thought I were joking, but yeah, a few heads turned up and that.
Yeah, good.
But we got something else as long as... we got 250 hours community service as well. Which then got extended to 300 hours.
What did that involve? Cleaning up and shit?
It started off quite cushy because we were in like West Derby and Liverpool, so we were working in these like charity shops.
Nice.
And
that's chilling.
It's quite affluent around there. There's all wags and footballers, and there's quite a bit of money.
Some good record digging that way.
And it leads me on to so we found these Ray-Bans, we're pricing them all up.
Sick.
I've got this stack of Bowies, I've got this stack of Beatles, White Albums.
Sick.
Fan stuff, do you know what I mean? I've got Sabbaths, and I've priced them all up, they're all like 40 pence each. Woman goes, yeah. I went, can I buy all these?
Yeah, I'll have all them up, cheers mate.
So I've got all the Beatles, all the Bowie albums, nearly all the Sabbath albums just through.
Unreal. You probably made, so that 500 quid you got fined, you've probably made back in the records.
Oh yeah, away. Well, no, that's even funnier because like the first job that we actually got after being arrested and all that stuff. Sorry,
talking too loud, aren't we?
It's an ambulance. You hear the sounds.
Sorry, the first job.
Yeah, so the first job that we actually got after being arrested and all that was the local police wanted us to do a workshop for kids to teach them graffiti.
How does that work? You've just been told you can't do anything like that.
We weren't even allowed to take the materials to the job.
Mental.
We had to get them to take it.
Oh my fucking God. That's nice though, isn't it? That they saw that in you. After all that $500,000 in the 2 year, for them to turn around and go, actually, can you teach these kids?
Yeah.
The very thing that we kind of almost banging you up for. Obviously, you weren't teaching those kids, climb up a fucking building and tag on it. But skills and art and all the rest of it. Yeah. Well, so right smack bang in the middle of your ASBO, when you came back from Leeds, when you came back from Liverpool to Leeds, is when we sort of started hanging out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you often came through to the Cypher.
Yeah.
And at the time, you sort of masterminded this amazing merchandise label, effectively, which was your brand Eject, but called Ejectos.
Yeah.
What was your thinking behind that, and what was your inspiration behind like just starting that shit? Because it was all like high quality gear, you know what I mean? Like,
I think because getting into street art, when we kind of got into the street art stuff, it were like, you'd see stuff like, you'd see Tricky and stuff in, music mags and stuff wearing Stussy. Do you know what I mean? You'd see like, to me, it were like, I'm quite into Beastie Boys, it were X Large. Fucked started it all. It were OG Slick and Eric, whatever his name is. Anyway, they started Fucked. And at that time, you didn't really have streetwear. People wore T-shirts and brand stuff, but this were like statement pieces. Do you know what I mean?
Fully.
And then all that led into like, I don't know, just really getting into like X-large clothing, like really just wanting stussies as a kid. Do you know what I mean? Never being able to afford. You see all these foot boys now, and they've all got stussies, but the mum's bought them. And it's like we used to just be like, whoa, I'd love something like that.
My sister, I have my 3 nieces of varying ages, but they've got like a printing machine at home, so they jacked the logo and put it on a T-shirt just so they weren't going, oh, can I have this 200 quid stussy? They just like,
that's quite good. I like that.
Cheap way of doing it.
That's punk as fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, you were getting into those sort of brands then, and that was an inspiration behind that?
I always loved I loved the high quality of it. I loved the fact that I've still got X-large T-shirts. I've still got like, there's another, Air Life.
Oh, right.
Air Life were just like, when Air Life popped up, it were like, oh, this is the shit. It's like the quality, everything about Air Life were amazing. Right. You know what I mean? Every T-shirt was just made to last. Yeah. How it was done, slightly oversized, big impact, look, everything. Do you know what I mean? I've always loved all that world of street art, style, fashion stuff. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. When I wanted to launch the brand, I wanted it to be sick. Do you know what I mean? So I went right from the bags, the printed labels, the neck labels.
It was mental how much you went in on it, man. Like, and the quality of the
cost
garments
as well.
I bet. Yeah. Well, you were charging quite a reasonable amount for them, considering the amount of work that you put in, like, to make them the best they could be.
Yeah.
As I remember, though, it went well, because I feel like if I was to launch a sort of high quality merch brand now, I feel people would be like, oh, I don't really have any money for that sort of thing. But you kind of, I mean, I might, because instead it was you, so you had a better reputation for that kind of thing, and I think people respected your artwork more. Yeah. But my impression of you launching that was like, he smashed it.
Yeah,
you seem to do really well. Like,
cheers,
and see, everyone were talking about it. Everyone was wearing it. Yeah. Do you feel like that was how you were received by West Yorkshire and beyond? Like?
Yes. I feel like it hit more. I mean, in Yorkshire, we're obviously great because it's my hometown and stuff. Leeds, especially. I mean, doing launch, getting you guys performing at launch.
Mate, I love that launch.
The
it's
launch
legendary.
Were at night. It were like there's a club called, Cedric Avenue.
Cedric Avenue.
Had Tony on. Yep. But, I mean, Tony wasn't prepared for what happened that night. Nah. I mean, he was stood there and I'm like, mate, I don't really read into Facebook analytics or whatever, but I'd be like, mate, there's over like 1,000 people saying they're coming on Facebook. So even if a third of that come, I'm like, you're still going to be rammed out. Mate.
Yeah. And it was busy as fuck, wasn't it?
Most people on that thing turned up.
Word. I've got that poster at home. Hash Finger, Defenders of Style, Flame Griller, Chief Wigs.
DS
I'm sure the DS. Yeah. Mental.
Yeah.
It was such a good gig.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was amazing. It was absolutely... it was humbling to fuck, to be fair. Like, you've got all your friends there, and then you've got all this flock of people that actually just wanted you to release a T-shirt, and then a flock of people that wanted to come for the hip-hop, and then it was great. Do you know what I mean?
You must have been fucking feeling
we did really well on the night. We sold enough T-shirts, loads of T-shirts on the night. Yeah. But I think as it progressed, I was putting so much money into it. I was getting higher quality hoodies. We were going in and putting like embroidery on stuff. We were getting leather detail patches. We were sewing these things. We were trying to look like a really big company. Yep. Well, I say we, it was me.
Yeah, you always said we, but like actually it was be working your ass off behind the scenes.
Well, and my mum sewed loads of bits on.
Oh, so nice, big up.
Props to her. She didn't even want any money.
Respect.
But yeah, it got to a point where like we were trying to sell all these hoodies and stuff, and then you're like, people are like, I'm not paying that for a hoodie. I'm like, it costs that just for the base hoodie. Do you know what I mean? What you want to pay is like what we've actually bought the hoodie in for. Yep. Then put as work onto it, then got it embroidered, then stamped, and then all these details. Do you know what I mean?
Is that what caused like the sort of drop off of it in the end?
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like it was very, it was hard to get further out there. I mean, we sold a lot of stuff to like Amsterdam because I've got loads of stickers and stuff over there. We did quite well in like Australia. People bought quite a lot of stuff. Sick. Mainly like London, Liverpool, Leeds. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Newcastle. Just do like through your painting and through people that you've met and stuff like that. Yeah. So it seemed like it, but then we were just putting so much money into other bits that it looked like we were like some drops we would sell out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like the Clash City Rockers ones, with the big demon, you drop it and it'd be gone.
Yeah, nice.
But then it's like you try to do stuff with it a little bit, because I didn't just want to do stuff that people were doing.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to push it, and then it got to a point so you're doing like, I don't know, then you're clashing with other companies at the time and this and that, and there were all that stuff going on, and it was just like...
There was a couple of merchandise. I was just thinking the other day when I was thinking about what to talk to you about, and it's like, at the time, there were so many fucking merch labels that popped up. I mean,
instantly like...
WY was already going and doing its thing, and that's just about to come back as it goes.
Yeah.
Boysht was out there doing its thing, and then there were sort of various like young people like popping up with like this thing and that thing, and it would just literally be a t-shirt with their logo on or whatever. Like, but there were enough people like, you know, pushing a brand or whatever, and now it's just people, there's nothing like that really. No one's got the, I don't know whether it's like they got the balls to start it or whether they know the luxury industry's fucked and people aren't buying stuff like that anymore.
I think it was hard as well, because when we did launch Ejectos, it'd gone to a point in fashion and style where people were just going to H&M and buying a black t-shirt or buying a white t-shirt, or then the oversized like them long t-shirts came in, and it were like, is this as far as it's going to go? You're not putting out on them. And everyone were going really minimal and stuff, and I wanted to go back to that A-Life early vibe and that X-Large vibe where it's like blow in your face kind of thing.
I remember you did a couple of collabos, one with Big Toes, was it?
The Big Toes, they're my boys. They're really well. They're like really close to the Big Toes crew.
Nice.
I mean, when I first came back to Leeds, it's like if it weren't for like the WI hip-hop dudes and Big Toes, I mean, I'd be a bit lost, to be fair.
Would that keep your nose to the grindstone in terms of producing artwork and stuff like that?
Well, artwork as well, and just being on scene as well. Like the Big Toes guys, we went to Amsterdam with them. We've gone to Scotland loads of times. You know what I mean? I'd be part-time roadie and like design out flyers and stuff, and merch and logos and stuff. And there was mates and stuff as well, and it was
amazing.
You were getting to see people like bloody Mad Professor work on your mate's sound system.
With your
logos in the background.
That's too sick.
You know what I mean?
Mate, amazing. And so how long after, well, not like, you're probably doing commissions like this. I want to kind of get onto the stuff that you're doing here. So we're in a Roxy ballroom right now in Leeds. But I remember not that long ago walking through Leeds and being like, Eject's just fucking covered this place. Legitimately though. Like people have paid you to do the inside of their stores. I don't know whether we can mention Almost Famous, but you did Almost Famous. It still looks amazing in there. And all their stuff was based off you, but I know did they just fuck you off after? Like, can we talk about that?
Yeah, we just kind of had a bit of a falling out. I think it got to a point where...
Continue to use all your shit, though.
Well, that were part and parcel of it. They'd paid for most of the stuff.
Okay, fair enough then.
Yeah, there was a few bits, and I'm not going to jump in and like copyright people going into lawsuits and stuff. Because to be fair, a lot of times I'm just on to the next thing. I'm busy. But I think, to be fair, if it weren't for... Well, the recession hit. So I went from... So I was trying to create a company that did murals. Not murals, I hate the word murals. It's fucking tossers, man. Everybody in Leeds, everybody everywhere has got like, they say the name down, it says murals on end. Murals it's a political group. Basically, the muralists were...
in Northern Ireland?
Where were it? Mexico.
Oh, okay.
It's Frida Kahlo's fella. So he was part of the thing called the Muralists, and they were doing murals to fight against depression and government.
So to call this a mural is like
this is
disrespectful to that idea.
This is background noise. It's decoration.
Nice.
It's decoration. I mean, I put ideas, and we put ideas, and we try to put a good, strong sense of design into most of the commissions that we do, but I mean, I don't call them murals, man.
It was so sick to see your work on the was it the Yorkshire bike race, or was it
the Tour de France?
Yeah. You had panels all through the centre of town with all your stuff
going right
on.
up to Yorkshire actually, because we were doing stuff with Cyan as well and some other people. Then we had some stuff in Lake District as well. So like quite along a lot of the trail, I think I had 5 or 6.
Mate, you must have been super proud of that, man. Like, where did they hold?
I mean, I don't really like cycling and stuff.
No, fuck that. Who cares?
I mean, it was good to see it on the little square.
Well, we're in a karaoke room right now, bro. I assume that's not your style, despite the mics.
Fucking love karaoke.
Never happening. So, what is the Ejecto plan at the minute? Is it just to continue to do Roxy ballrooms until you die from fume overdose?
Yeah, no, I think it got to a point. I think it's just. I mean, the work that been doing has always been for loads of different clients all at once.
Yep.
But I've always been really, really busy doing like Almost Famouses, doing like Turtle Bays. We used to do all Turtle Bays and stuff up and down country and stuff like that, and stuff like that. But and then, I mean, I've always since Roxy started this one, we did the wall in the back, just a feature wall, and it's just grown from there. I mean, I've got good relationships with the owners, all the staff, the managers. Do you know what I mean? And it's create something that's right for them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's got to a point where they've got really, really busy. Nice. And they're opening more and more venues, so I've got to step up and kind of do that. I've got a kid at home, do you know what I mean? I've got a family and stuff, so it's like I've got to look after them, and
so
I've
it's
got
paying
to look
the
after
bills, and obviously you get into your incredible work is getting used, and your ability is getting used. How do you feel about like? Are you managing to get space to do like your own personal shit? I guess
not at the moment, just because it's been so busy with the Roxy stuff. I mean, they've been popping up like. I think we've been doing like 6 or 7 venues a year, plus sister companies and going back to other venues. Yeah. And I mean, you don't even get time to get any other clients in at that point. So it's like there's times where it's just been solely. I'm working on someone else's dream at the moment, but my dream's still there. It's like
I was going to say,
it's there to fund the dream in the future. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say. So ideal world, say you've got all of 2025 to yourself. What projects do you do? Like, and you're paid. You don't have to worry about money for a year. What are you working on as an individual? Like what?
If you were just I mean, to be fair, I think I just enjoyed just chilling with my little one.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. That's I mean, I love drawing with her. I mean, just being around her is great. You know what I mean? So it's like more time to do stuff like that and paint stuff that I'm like known for as well. It's like we're always quite active on the walls legally and doing commissions as well. It was always like like a one-man band of weak things, but lots of heavy hitters. So it was always I always tried to just be on top of all that. Yeah. And I don't know, sometimes you sit there with your little one and you're watching Frozen or something, and I'm like, you know what?
Life's sick.
I don't want to be like over stuff. But yeah, I do miss painting for myself. Yeah. I mean, you feel your presence goes down. I mean, people still love the commissions, but I mean, in a weird way, I've never done graffiti to appeal to anyone, but you're still always trying to, give a big fuck you to all other graph writers. You know what I mean? You're always, even if they're mates, you're still trying to battle them.
Of course.
It's like, if you're on a wall, you still want your piece to be the best piece.
Of course. Do you still get to do much communal wall stuff, or don't you have much time for that, when you boys go to a legal wall or whatever?
No, I haven't had time for that in a long time since, especially, having a kid, man. Having a kid and working nights all week in different cities, man. You know what I mean? On a weekend, I don't really think about it sometimes.
Fair enough.
Well, I've got a few weeks off, and sometimes it's just you get a few weeks off and you just rest your arm. Yeah. Because I mean, this arm's just constantly on go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So no more plans for like Ejecto-based merchandise stuff. I'm not even necessarily. Are all the t-shirts and hoodies gone?
Everything's gone forever.
Right?
Over time. Yeah, I've got a box of keepsafes. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I still want to do some stuff, but you're getting to a point like you're doing recent prints and stuff. Yeah. I mean, lockdown. I mean, as terrible as it was, people were fucking tuned in, man. People were buying your stuff. People were liking your stuff, sharing your stuff. Yeah. And then it just goes back to everyone goes to the pub, footy's on. Yeah. And it's like your least thing that you'll care about is the stuff in your house because you're outside. And it's like, me personally, I collect art. I love art. I love graffiti art. I love, you know what I mean? All that stuff. I love it. I mean, if I like artists, I'll buy their work. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I'll shout about them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And lockdown were great for stuff like that, but now it's just like, all right, he's doing all right now again. He's all right. Yeah.
People do have that perception, I think, of like, you don't have to worry about it.
You'll sink. I mean, I'll do prints and I'll sink hours of time into them. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll get them printed, and then it's like they'll chug away. Yeah. It's like everybody's like, oh, do that in blue, do that, and it's like I just don't listen to all that noise because.
You do random drops now and again, and my favourite one that you did, I bought one, was you did some of your demons, but you'd cut them out as like 3D. I think you might have done that through lockdown.
Yes,
you'd cut them out as big
demons.
3D versions of them. I've still got one in my studio. I think Stink Eye. The pink one in my studio. It's a pride and place, man. I love that thing. And they were so, like, when you were promoting them and like, here they are, and that's what I've done, it was like, these are unbelievable. And it's like, it is art, but it's sculpture almost, because it's 3D in there. Like, it was such an amazing thing. Like, I suppose if something like that comes to you again, you'll do it potentially.
Well, I've honestly got a stack of them that I'd made just before my daughter arrived. And I finished a few towards the end, and then, I don't know, about 9 months in, I started getting some epoxy on them. The weather changed. Do you know what I mean? So the weather changed and all the epoxy went all weird. It's actually salvageable, so that's all. That project was all on the go. Yeah. And then it's all fucked up. Yeah. So I went quiet about it, and then you're busy on another Roxy, and then you go home, and then it's like...
You've got to prioritise the almighty dollar.
It's nearly 3 years now since I finished a lot of them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, the original Lockdown Demons were great, though. It was so fun. They were just I had like the last bit of money I had because like... I mean, I'm self-employed, man. I didn't get no, what's it called? Furlough. I didn't get no furlough. It's like, but you got the universal credit, grants or whatever later on. But you're talking like 4 months until that all drops. You know what I mean? It was like I was skint or on my ass. Yeah. If it weren't for selling the COVID prints and the Lockdown Demons, I mean, I wouldn't have really got through that. Yeah, yeah. Luckily at the time, Roxy they were doing Nottingham. They let me go in. We're doing Manchester as well at the same time, so you could go in at different times when no one were in.
Good that they had the foresight to be like, well, we'll need them open at some point. So like,
so they literally that. So we were literally in venues. Just I were on my own. Or you'd like to see with lockdown, wasn't it? It was mental.
Weren't meant to be working. I'm sure you got stopped a few times.
No, it's the building trade we're allowed to go on.
Oh well,
you know what I mean? So technically, I'm in the building trade. I'm in a building.
That's it.
I mean, I wear steel toe caps.
You got a big mask. It looks cool. So, like 10 years from now, what's Eject doing? Do you think you'll still be doing these sort of things?
I don't think. I mean, the goal is to get a team of my own crew, which I've been building up with the lads that I work with. Kid Crayon, props to him. He's an absolute legend. Solid worker. Love working with him. Yep. Only met him on a Roxy job through Captain Chris. Gave me a heads up, said that he's a good worker and stuff like that. Met him, that's it. No. Both got liver damage now from drinking so much.
So that's the idea. You'd be the top of the tree, but not necessarily.
Yeah, so we're basically. I'd like to get to a point where I'm. Do you know what I mean? I've got enough of a name, and I mean my portfolio's. I'm not being funny, but
huge. Yeah,
huge, and within the bar and club industry and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of it's been ripped and copied and used, but I'm not saying it's. I mean, I'm not saying I've been absolutely plundered. It's just the stars of fashions. But I mean, like, look at Almost Famous, Roxy's Turtle Base, certain things that we were there right beyond when it were there. Yeah. I mean, we're there at the start, beyond the start of it. Yeah. You know I mean, all that street food stuff, we were painting all them vans. Yeah. All that style, all that.
Friggin' Manjit's Kitchen. Things keep popping. Things keep popping into my head, and I'm like, he did that as well. He did that as well.
That logo just came in, just
absolutely beautiful.
Genius, just. Point of genius.
Genius moment. That elephant. Amazing. What a great idea. I love that so much.
I love it.
Yeah, the food.
I loved working with Manjit. She was really good for me at the start. And then it were like British Street Food Awards were kicking off, so we're doing all these venues through them.
T-shirts
and then, So there were a lot of merch stuff going on for other people. And then, So in 10 years though, I'd like to be controlling my own stuff and doing more of my own shows. Yeah. You know what I mean? Painting more. Well,
what would be a show? How would a show work? What do you mean like that?
Just more like exhibitions and stuff like that, more high-profile exhibitions where you can sell the stuff that you actually work on. That would be stuff that's fully Ejecto style.
When was the last Eject exhibition?
I think it was in Manchester. It was we did it at Bakerama.
Hashfinger DJ.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, no, it wasn't. Oh, no. The last one was actually Bristol. Right. But we did it in the middle of Glastonbury, and it was just like
tough turnout. No one was there.
Nobody. Have you been to Bristol? Glastonbury's on.
No, not when Glastonbury's on.
Nobody in Bristol when
really?
Glastonbury's
Everyone fucks off to Glastonbury.
Literally nobody there. You can't get a budge, you can't get out. Yeah, I mean, it's,
Town's closed.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Fair play. But that's sick. So, but that's pre-COVID though, right?
Yes,
so we haven't done a post-COVID Eject exhibition.
I think I'd done the last couple, and like we did one at Bakerama on the worst. I think we had the worst weather warnings in the north that we've had for years. I mean, Angry Nick, we're driving down, we've got a dash finger, he was DJing, we're all fearing for his life. Yeah, we're pretty mental going down there.
Yeah,
I mean, and people still turned up.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's, I mean, you put a lot of money into them shows. It's like, and I'm doing them alongside doing these, and I'm using the money from these to fund stuff like that. And if it doesn't hit or you don't sell, I mean, you've made a loss straight away, and it's
almost always going to be the way, isn't it? Unless you have like a launch like you did with the Cedric Avenue, you're going to be close to like cutting even.
Yeah.
And those things are sometimes because I do stuff like this, and you like put a lot of time into it, and put a lot of money into it, and just about cut even. You're like, what's the fucking point? I may as well just like
you don't cut even,
concentrated on the commission, but actually it's not about that. It's like it's a beautiful thing to be able to go, this is my shit, and you're like putting your. You know what I mean? But those moments are more important than all the ones where you've earned the money, I think, because it's like you personally.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the most successful one we did one at Zap Graffiti Arts in Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
Kieran's a really good mate of mine. He asked, he writes beta, and he's just a sick guy, a lovely guy, and he invited me to do a show in his old studio. Yeah. Honestly, it was mental. It were on that Cedric Avenue vibe, but with graffers.
Perfect.
So it were like all graphers from Liverpool, you know what I mean, people from like everywhere had all come to this show, and it were a really good turnout, did really well on sales, we had loads of prints to do, Ashfinger smashed a set, do you know what I mean, it was really good, really good, and it showed you like, I don't know, it's like sometimes doing it in Leeds, I feel like Leeds has got this different attitude about graffiti, especially if you're still doing a bit of commercial stuff, whereas in Liverpool it was different because like a lot of the kids that turned up were like, kids that had influence to do stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't much graph going on in Liverpool, and I feel like I've helped a few of them kids get into it.
It is a different scene now, isn't it? What would you say, like, in West Yorkshire or Leeds in general, like, a young up-and-coming, like, artist, are they even going to be bothering a graffiti, or is it too difficult to do it with all the... There's so much more CCTV and people might have a mobile phone out or whatever. Do you think that's happening less and less than it used to?
I don't know. I see there's kids still bombing in Leeds, man, but it's not like... I mean, Leeds never really had the biggest scene. I mean, the NKA smashed it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, there wasn't really a massive scene for graffiti in Leeds, full stop. Yeah. I'd say, like, I got into it more through kids from Halifax and Bradford and stuff.
Mental
Bradford had a mad scene. Everyone seemed to be a graph writer in Halifax at one point. I mean, Bradford and Halifax. You just see kids on train and you'd be like, he's a graph writer.
There was I've just done a podcast with a guy called Marcus Jack, who's an artist out in Halifax. Right. And he did a whole exhibition called From New York to West Yorkshire, and he knew so many Halifax graph artists who'd all like been influenced by like music from New York and stuff, and it's just like, how the hell are these just these guys that are rocking up from HX3 or whatever? And they're like,
how the fuck did it even get to Halifax? I always wonder that, because there's someone just must have got a book or someone's been to New York, and it were like, because it was I mean, you got Spy Mad, you got Fair, you got Racker and stuff like that.
Spy Mad was Halifax, was he? Damn.
Yeah, and then you'd get Prime going over to paint with Spy Mad, so we were like, fucking hell, these guys are fucking amazing.
Unbelievable. I remember seeing both those. I remember seeing Prime back in the day. I feel like it was in near Granary Wharf, Leeds, and near the train station, and there was like a jam going on, and seeing Prime stuff and being like, whoa.
The rum jam, was it?
Possibly, it was a long while ago.
Jam,
amazing.
Good that. Well, lads stole loads of rum, so we ended up with loads of bottles. And all our crew fucked off, so we got a bottle each for all them that fucked off as well.
Sick.
We had about 6 bottles of rum that day. It was a good day.
Amazing. Right, Eject, I think we've pretty much covered all the ground I wanted to cover, man.
Sound.
Thanks so much for chilling with me, man. I really appreciate it.
See you again, mate.
In front of your artwork. Big fuck up, man.
Cheers. Thank you.
So that was Eject. Thanks very much to him for joining me. An absolute legend. Please go and check him out. Demons in the Details, I think, is his website, but all the details are in the comments as usual. Go give him a shout and tell him his stuff is sick, because it is. Until next time, big up.